Beloved star, welcome. So, warmest welcome to our Immortal Starlight pod number 15. And this one, I would love to speak of Arianrhod, Queen of Stars, Arianrhod, this beautiful and Elven and goddess and starlight creational being, emanation, who overlights the silver wheel that is the Elven record of remembrance for the new dawn. And also, stands forth so much at this hour as a great and an overlighting presence to our ascension, our return to all that we are. And in my own remembrance, Arianrhod, her name means silver wheel in Welsh. It's Arian silver and wheel the rod. So this silver wheel, this one, and in my own remembrance, she flows through in this galactic plane, through the constellation of Corona Borealis. And this is also known as the Northern Crown, often counted as being 7 stars, some Chinese say 9, but very, very interesting that it is said to be 7 here because, as I have experienced it in my own Elven and Starlight remembrance, my own soul star presence inflowing from Ephalianon, Avalon, beyond, through other worlds, but arriving into this galactic plane, into Corona Borealis. And I've been shown this as the constellation, the star dimension in this galaxy, where we as the Elven have been able to found the light of the temple of the morning star most deeply and completely. That first and that elder and that Elven and that star way of creation. How to create as the one who you are in your first and elder light, in that sovereign and celestial blueprint, inflowing, creating truly as the one who you are. Your home world, arriving as your homeland here and now, to be able to choose. And she comes in the way of the Elven Aurora portal again and again through the light of the new moon, and always we journey into the Elven celestial temple of the moon to meet with her, for so she does feel linked through the moon, through Corona Borealis, and then inflowing, which is also known as Caer Arianrhod in the old traditions. So Corona Borealis, that northern crown, also her Caer, her castle, her fort of Arianrhod, and so inflowing through the moon and through the Elven celestial temple of the moon again and again, through the light of the new moon, how I experience her as she steps through, and so often literally appearing like liquid white silvers, her hair a torrent of silver, the diadem at her brow, these slanting deep eyes, and her gown of iridescent silvers, and bearing the next facet or aspect of the celestial blueprint of self that is to be received here, that we are choosing to bring through, to become now, to bring to this earth, Oriel, Taya, Gada, Oriel, Earth, Gaia, Tara, Gada. so yeah, she really, it feels with that white silver light, with that white silver radiance, it's such a level of the most extraordinary creational purity, and that it really does correspond to that celestial and oversoul blueprint of our first light, of purest self, of that which creates for no reason other than love alone, in purest becoming for the evolution of worlds. Simply this, the becoming of our purest love, again and again, this homecoming through all realms, all dimensions, all worlds. And so the choreography, the wheel, if you like, or the turning of the sequencing of the pieces or the parts of ourselves that are brought through, that arrive. Really, she bears them forth, each one as a moonflower in the realm of the moon, belong to that consciousness of love. It is, if you like, our wheel of dharma rather than karma, of, that lighted greater wisdom of our being inflowing, that is that homecoming through all worlds. And through the choice, we always get to choose, through the choice of whether we accept this incoming blueprint, this incoming facet of our celestial, angelical nature, greater self as source. If we choose to receive this, to, if you like, install it in our heart, to activate this, to receive this, then we choose the starlight of our own star of becoming, the next wave of our own becoming, and we choose the star of the dawn that we shine as here in this world, and we choose what reality we're creating. We literally, through this, through journeying to this purest place within, that, if you like, is void, is source, is mystery, unconditional, unconditioned arising, and we allow that next piece to be gifted, and we receive that white silvery light of beyond, we receive that, then we truly become a creator of, we begin to generate our reality from that level, and we are reborn as a star creator, not generating our reality from inadvertent and old deepest thought vibration fields that we hold within, conditioned, that then generate and form our reality. We've taken the time to go into that void, that mystery, that beyond, that unconditioned and unconditional arising, to purify, to let go, to walk forth into that mystery. And from there we really truly, by taking time to let the unconditioned nature of that arising take place, then we get to recode our very, very innermost core. That's what I love about the way of the drum, the shamanic way also, because it shifts our consciousness and our entire cellular being, so that we are receiving, we are conscious at that level, and we go into that profound creational state where we are making that deep and sovereign choice. We see the light we are choosing or not choosing. We perceive what is normally hidden, as it were, by the outer layers. And as a result, the outer layers of all that we create, all that we are, alter. And so Arianrhod really stands at that place, and she, a few things with this. So, I can feel so much energy moving through. When we experience the star elders, the Elven star elders of Corona Borealis, who are also guardians of the Temple of the Morning Star, of Arianrhod as long seated on earth, that through Corona Borealis, when we experience them, you do experience this profoundest frequency of peace, and it is of a white starlight essence that is so beautiful. There is such peace to those ones. And as I first experienced that consciousness, that remembrance of that own galactic and star essence of my own being, I couldn't believe it. It was like seeing a colour you've never seen, feeling a tone you've never felt here. And the frequency of peace with this level of intention is just beyond. And Arianrhod invites us to experience ourselves again, to remember ourselves as that elder of peace. As the book Silver Wheel that I've written, that she overlights, speaks, you are the one who all of this wisdom seeks. And you are the center and the heart of all of this, the unveiling of you, of this one who you are, that your gifts may flow through into this world. For you are one who has come from a parallel and an ascended galaxy, sun, star, universe, realm of light. You carry, the reason you're here is that you carry the fully completed codes of ascension from another realm where the full cycle has been realized within your innermost being, where you have accomplished that completely through all the dimensions of your being, and you bring that here to earth at this time as an elder of peace. And when we access that celestial blueprint, and we access it an aspect at a time, we are downloading from the fullness of the ascension wisdom that we carry from beyond, that is already realized within our multidimensional being. And so Arianrhod points to this perfection of your being, this pre-existent perfection of the star of your being that holds all of this encoded. And so it's like, relax, be with this now, be who you are now, be this now. It is all here with you, your divine and innate perfection, already. There is no need for delay, no need for preparation. You are all of this already now, and you always were. And so with this, you can feel how in that encoded wisdom of Arianrhod, yes, if you like, we receive that Dharma wheel, a sequencing at a time through the phases of the beautiful moonlight and the sunlight that are the cadences of our planetary reality, that we move through these phases of lit becoming, of sequencing, of receiving ourselves. And yet, so too, it points to the completeness of that pre-existent perfection within your own being, all there, already held, already, all at once. And so she really stands and overlights and summons those white starlight souls, elders of peace from other realms who are here for the dawn, here to see the completeness of that wisdom. And yeah, as we meet with her in the mythology, as I met with her through the mythology of the Welsh myths, of the Mabinogion and so forth, these stories are, they're, if you like, very fallen stories, or stories of a lower density of consciousness, and yet they hold seeds of the greater celestial tales of who we are, the greater cycles of our Lemurian and before remembrance. And I read them much when I was in my early years in Wales and beginning to listen, to receive in my 20s the waves of Elven starlight remembrance. And as I read those stories, it was hard to relate to the way that they were spoken about in the stories. I knew I was tracking these great beings who held this, it was like something I knew and yet didn't know. Again, it was all with me here, and I could feel that, the gifting of my own consciousness, that I am consciousness of the silver wheel, of the golden wheel, these interfusions of the layers of what I held here, and yet, it was all present, and I couldn't find trace of it here. I'd read through the stories and even through other magical books and esoteric books, and I knew that whatever this part that I was here on this earth holding, I could not find there. And so it became this listening to that which was revealed through that, and yet I couldn't find it in it. It existed some layer beyond. So it kind of connected me, and then I had to, flow out and through. But that's how I came across her and remembered her name as one of many of these divine feminine presences of the land in Wales to whom I was connecting, the goddess presences, and remembered them little by little as shining ones, as of that elven and first light of the great starlight aeons of earth, the great creational ages, when we have appeared in many, many different forms of our angelical and starlight self. And bit by bit I was shown that Arianrhod was the one who overlit the whole of this remembrance. That, so she's always felt quite far out in a sense, like this exquisite white silver lighted presence linked to these sequencings, these cadences, to the moon, to the stars, and to the ocean. And I'd love to speak a little of that, because in the story she is invited to come and be the foot bearer for Math, a great king and also a great magician who, when he's not in battle, can only rest his feet in the lap of a virgin. And she comes to, if you like, to audition for the part, and invited by Gwydion, another magician, and she has to walk over a rod, and as she walks over it, a child falls from her, and before she leaves, she flees in shame. Another one falls from her. And for me, then that myth, really, that story, now that I've met her so deeply in these beautiful shining encounters within the Elven celestial temple of the moon, and as she has appeared over and over again bearing the celestial blueprint, I feel how creation emerges forth from her, even simply as one, as virgin, as that one who exists, a light emergent from the void, from that mystery, from that nothingness. And so she flees, she goes back to Caer Arianrhod, that is said to be by the ocean. And there is actually a geographical counterpart for this, a rock that is out in the ocean off the coast of Wales, of Gwynedd of North Wales, the Llyn Peninsula, off there. And fascinatingly, that is correspondent. Where that falls geographically in relation to the whole coastline of Wales is correspondent to where Corona Borealis falls in relation to the Milky Way galaxy. So there is this relationship with her, between her Caer Arianrhod, her castle in the ocean, and her castle of the stars. And her son, who she gives birth to, actually goes into the sea, becomes a sea being. And so there is this link between the oceans and the stars with Arianrhod. And that brings me so to the next correspondence. And if you know your mythology, you probably know also that with Corona Borealis there is a link too, for the 7 stars of Corona Borealis, known also as Caer Arianrhod, as the castle, as the fort of Arianrhod, wherein, as I remembered, the Elven temple of the morning star indwells and is realized. That this, so too, the northern crown, for it forms this sort of arc like a crown in the north of the skies, that this is also known as the crown of Ariadne in the Greek mythology. And she was the one who helped, through her thread, Theseus to escape from the labyrinth, to find his way. And that when they got married, she had this beautiful crown forged for her by Hephaestus, the smith god, and it was thrown up into the heavens and shines up there. So very, very interesting layers between this goddess, Elven, angelical, first light being who has these magical creational capacities and gifts, and this constellation in the skies. And so it feels to me a continuum, very, very much a continuum with the great and elder starlight ages of creation that is echoing through all of this. But this brings me, so this is recent, as you know, I'm kind of exploring Tolkien's mythology more, sort of post my own remembering and awakening to the Elven remembrance. And it suddenly clicked. It was one of those gorgeous, magical moments. I was running and it suddenly clicked that Arianrhod is correspondent to Vada, who Tolkien speaks of as Vada, who is also a queen of the stars. And if I just come, I've got all my notes here written. Actually, I'll grab my Silmarillion. I love this. This is much thumbed these days. It's such a crazily dense book, but it is absolutely beyond marvellous, packed with cosmological treasures of pure knowing. And so to share, I'll just read this part because his words, the cadences, the music always carry so much of the frequency, the purity. And so with Manwë, so Manwë, they are the great angelical beings who arise forth from Iluvatar, from the Creator. And Manwë is one such, and with Manwë dwells Vada, Lady of Stars, who knows all the regions of air. Too great is her beauty to be declared in the words of men or elves, for the light of Iluvatar lives still in her face. In light is her power and her joy. Out of the deeps of air she came to the aid of Manwë, for Melkor she knew from before the making of the music and rejected him. And he hated her and feared her more than all the others whom Eru made. Manwë and Vada were seldom parted, and they remain in Valinor. Their halls are above the everlasting snow. Now forgive my pronunciation here, there's a few words, you may know them better than I. Their halls are above the everlasting snow upon Oe Olose, the uttermost tower of Taniquetil, tallest of all the mountains upon earth. When Manwë there ascends his throne and looks forth, if Vada is beside him, he sees further than all other eyes, through mist and through darkness, and over the leagues of the sea. And if Manwë is with her, Vada hears more clearly than all other ears the sound of voices that cry from east to west, from the hills and the valleys, and from the dark places that Melkor has made upon the earth. Of all the great ones who dwell in this world, the elves hold Vada most in reverence and love. El-Bereth, they name her, and they call upon her name out of the shadows of Middle-earth and uplift it in song at the rising of the stars. So you feel how this first light of the stars is emergent within Vada, just as within Arianrhod, that in a sense she is both the starlight and that which exists before the starlight. It is that first light. And so too, just to connect that, I think I marked here. Yes, so with Manwë dwelt Varda, the most beautiful, who in the Sindarin tongue is named El-Bereth, Queen of the Valar, Maker of the Stars. She's Maker of the Stars. And she relates to that part of ourselves that is Maker of the Stars. When we become that elder and ascended light of the one who we are, that celestial and oversoul blueprint, we become the Maker of Stars. We become that which forges that which is existent here. And we co-create with the star light of the innermost nature that is Earth, and we bring forth our home worlds as the homelands of the divine, immortal, starlight-lighted Earth that is emergent now, this handing over of the keys of power. So too we become that star creator, that maker of stars, that one who generates the hologram of our own lighted reality. I feel this great purity of ourselves is really emergent right now, and with that so much falling away, of course we witness the old or more derivative, inadvertent layers of creation that lift out with deepest compassion. We watch that lift and lift. It may make us feel a little fragile, a little less good about ourselves, less confident when we feel that which is passing away in the light of this purity. But to stay present with total love, because that purity, that maker of stars, knows no judgment, is present to the shadows of earth as to the light. Those ears that listen, those eyes that see through the mists, through the darkness, that, all of these layers of our evolution are held equally in that greater light of all that is. As that maker of starlight, we know that every phase of our evolution held thus. So we continue in our great blossoming, even as we see what leaves, just to see that with love, all that's been, the phase that we have expressed as we move forward now. And so, yes, I know there was a bit more of that, but I can't remember what that is at this moment. Maybe it'll flow back through. But, you know, Arianrhod really relates to the impossible and yet utterly possible now purity of your avatar oversoul expression walking this earth, and indeed how we are most profoundly supported when we come from this in our purest blueprint, our first and our elder light, and that it is the time now where we create from here. And when you can feel that, how actually that is a non-dual light, beyond light and shadow. It's not the great highs, it's not the great lows. It's not something we have to push ourselves into or pull away from. It is always there, extant, that purity of that which we already are and have always been. No need for delay, no need for preparation. And I've really found myself in that in these recent times, and over Equinox. There seem to be more and more, and I've spoken of it recently, but stilling in to that which is gifted, to the pure blueprint of self, of soul star expression, of what dwells therein, less and less kind of hopping about, the periphery of that, but indwelling and allowing that what is therein, that profound remembrance from within the purest blueprint, to be gifted as never before, to unravel, to unveil, to reveal, to unfurl. And it is a beautiful, beautiful place to still into in that innermost, and then to gift from into the outermost, to give into. And yeah, I just had a beautiful encounter over Equinox. I've been in such a solitude in physical reality for years, maybe the last 5 years, as I've been moving through a lot of my own layers of becoming and resolution of many layers, not at this frequency. And so I've been very, very much just in my house here and in the space of that, and then with my family. But part of what's shifting over Equinox, I was able just to meet with a couple of friends, beautiful, beautiful friends, and I could feel that pulse. It was like experimenting. I know now. I could feel that veil of persona that could come in. That's how I could manage this interaction, and maybe, I know that's maybe a way of feeling safe or navigating, finding orientation in that sphere of relating, just feeling in this living moment. But I want to share from that innermost flame of that which I am. What am I being called forth to truly create a star maker in this moment? To flow back and forth, both in the listening and the receiving, and in the sharing and the giving. And it was so beautiful just to feel that movement in physical reality, walking together and talking and feeling that. So that's been a really, really beautiful experience. So let me just check through my copious notes for this one, if I've shared with you everything I wanted to share. Here we go. I knew there was more. There is a little bit more, if you bear with me. So I spoke of the relationship between Arianrhod, the light of the stars, star maker, Vada, this white starlight goddess being, and it feels to me Elven. I mean, she creates the Elven, if you like. They love her more than all. It's felt Arianrhod as Elven, and yet knowing that she dwells beyond also. And so as the two trees were wrought, Telperion and Lorelin, in the words of Tolkien, that the golden tree and the silver tree, that the dews of Telperion fell, and the rain that fell from Lorelin, and Vada hoarded in great fats like shining lakes these dews and this rain of the two trees. And these great vats like shining lakes were to all the land of the Valar as wells of water and light. And it feels too that that is part of the nature of creation. That is, as the purest light of creation is wrought, flows through into being, what forms then are the waters of starlight, the waters of becoming, in which those codes of that purest creation are held. What are the sequencings of creation? And Vada is linked to that. Arianrhod is linked to that forging, that gathering of the starlight waters. So I find it so fascinating that her star palace, on this earth, is out in the ocean, that she needs to be amidst the waters, as it were, for her reality to be here upon this earth. And so that's part of a key, and you may hold more on that. Many I know are bringing through the wisdom of the waters. But I wanted to share one last thing, because I was thinking, I knew that I had read too of how, the light of Vada, as it were, shining within the crystal, within the physical. So we come from the waters now to that crystallization as earth, the solidity of matter, if you like, of the element of earth, of rock, of stone, of crystal, and of our own crystalline bodies, our cells, how we are formed here. And that Arianrhod, so too it feels to me, Vada really overlights, inlights that radiance of us becoming luminous as the stars that we are, of our bodies becoming luminous at this time, crystallizing, forming with our innermost light. Again, at that threshold where we meet self and other, where we appear, where we're seen as well as seeing, that we are seen, received, that our form is this. And when we are true to that deepest receiving of the blueprint within, that purest receiving, that is what becomes possible. Because the complete pattern, the celestial template, the blueprint is gifted. That's what's needed, is to allow for that to be fully gifted within. And when that happens, then just like the Silmarils that are these immortal starlight jewels and yet forged on earth, that is the possibility of our own avatar expression now, of our own human angelical body of light being wrought. So I think I've read of this before, but I'm just going to share now in this context before I complete. So this is speaking of the Silmaril, and for me I think this embodies what is happening for us as we become this purity of our blueprint. And like the crystal of diamonds it appeared, and yet was no more strong than adamant, so that no violence could mar it or break it within the kingdom of Arda. Our body truly is adamant of this light that we are, non-dual. It's not that tussle between light or dark, cannot be broken. Yet that crystal was to the Silmarils, as is the body to the children of Iluvatar, the house of its inner fire that is within it, and yet in all parts of it, and is its light, its life. And the inner fire of the Silmarils Feanor made of the blended light of the trees of Valinor, which lives in them yet, though the trees have long withered and shine no more. Therefore, even in the darkness of the deepest treasury, the Silmarils of their own radiance shone like the stars of Vada. And yet, as they were indeed living things, they rejoiced in light and received it and gave it back in hues more marvellous than before. And this is why I feel, as we become this light of the one who we are, as we receive this, that we forge the dimension of our homeland here. It becomes, that's why her correspondent realm, her pure starlight, emerges from Corona Borealis. The one who she is, Avatar, arrives and creates, because she arrives as her pure self, as her pure blueprint, creates her mirror image on this earth. It's why that correspondence. And so as we allow our pure light, our avatar presence to arrive, our correspondent mirror image on earth is wrought, so too of our homeland, of our temple, of our sacred realm is wrought here and rises. And yeah, of course it looks different, has, you know, it's in the ocean and up there in the stars, but it's they are correspondent, they are alike. So yeah, I think this was everything I wanted to share with you. As I say, I have pages. Let me just, yeah, I think that is all. And in the realm of Elven Aurora now, with this moon through a lay, it's so beautiful, because there is this gateway of the north, this gateway of Aurora and Aurora Borealis, that holds such a key to our arrival in that pure blueprint, and for the vast extent of that celestial and oversoul blueprint to truly arrive and walk this earth as winged ones, as shining ones, as all that we are. And so yeah, if you wish to enter in through this moon, it's just beginning, and such a beautiful moment if you feel drawn to begin with the Elven Starlight journey, because we are really with that energy in this pearl moon of that arrival, that connection with pure blueprint and arrival to this earth in that celestial and avatar blueprint, that gateway of Aurora and the north opening for the angelic and the starlight ones. So yeah, a beautiful point. If you feel the calling just to speak to that, that is part of why the energy of right now does feel like that potentiality of a really beautiful beginning. So yeah, I think that is all, with so much love. And yeah, this is a video also on YouTube this time around. My son, who is, yeah, he's just created his own little YouTube realm, and he's 8, nearly 9, and it's just like a little nook where he can play with creating his own videos, and it's mainly Star Wars. Commander Fox at the moment is overlighting, and I've been helping him, and we said to each other, I said, okay, I'll create a YouTube video by Friday, you create yours. We've set our goals. He's been such a beautiful star with initiating this. Yeah, he's subscribed to my channel and I've subscribed to his, so yeah, it's quite magic. So yeah, he's part of the inspiration and the muse for me sharing this one here and now. So much love, and I can't wait to carry on and see where our Immortal Starlight pod carries us next. So much love, be well, bye for now.